Today marks 1 year since we completed the Moñö journey. Through the incredible ups and downs, we finally made it here, to the end of season 2. And none of this would have been possible without our brand partners Highbeck, Kitchen Studio and Turquoise. To mark the end of season 2, we have with us the absolutely phenomenal duo of Priyanka and Piyush of PS Design, and we couldn't be more thrilled. It's amazing, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us, especially on this milestone event of ours today. Mies van der Rohe very famously quoted "Less is more," and Robert Venturi quoted "More is a bore." Sorry, less is a bore, right? Piyush, you're a minimalist, you're a maximalist, and yet the duo, the two of y'all, are one of the most successful practices in our country right now. So, can you tell us a little bit about this dynamic and how you operate as a studio?
So if you ask me honestly, I didn't start as being a maximalist. I think the first philosophy that I started the company with was less is more, which is about 15 years ago now. And at that time, maybe I didn't know so much, which is why I believed in less is more. But I think as a designer, you evolve. All of us do, you know. And I think over the last 15 years, my design process, the way I look at things has definitely changed. I have a lot more exposure today than I had then, which is why I also felt that, I mean, for the past maybe 4 or 5 years, I believe in getting it all in. I know that there was a time that I was an extreme minimalist, that I was, you know, maybe just wearing white, but today I don't believe in just, you know, one color or one texture or one pattern. I said, bring it all in. You know, if I had it my way, I'll use all the colors in the world. But you know, both of us, and Piyush can speak about himself, both of us, why we work together is because, you know, certain projects, and we always say is that we design for the client, we don't design for ourselves. We design looking at how the client wants a certain space to be, how he wants to feel. We also spend a lot of time with the client, understanding his requirements, understanding how he wants to live in a space, which is why not everybody is a maximalist, not everybody likes colors, you know, despite the fact that I always say that India is a land of colors.
Yes, it is.
Clients are very hesitant to use too much in a space, you know, too much color, too much texture. So there are certain people who just love to have a simplistic home, and I think, or an office or whatever. I think that's what Piyush does beautifully. I'm bad at it, but he can speak for himself.
No, so I feel being a maximalist or a minimalist in terms of design it comes more from the personality trait, as in who you are, because that's what architecture and design is generally. It's your own expression. I mean, I cannot be like an introvert in real life and design to flamboyant a building or a structure or an interior. It mostly stems down from who you really are from inside, and that is what reflects, because that is the kind of finish that you'll end up gravitating towards when you're designing something, or the style of a plan. I mean, somebody like me might want to start with a perfect rectangle or a perfect square, because that sort of fits within my symmetry, within my thought process. But there have been instances where I have done stuff like worked with extreme curves, all the curvy lines, and then maybe added muted finishes to sort of make it to my taste. So I think it's like you said, it's a good mix, which I feel works well for the studio, because you need both spectrums. So we sort of cover it entirely. The clients that approach us have different likings and dislikings.
Even within a family for that matter, sometimes, you know, when we are designing for really large families, when there are multiple generation families, what a grandfather would like, not necessarily the granddaughter would like the same thing, you know. She'll probably want to do something more modern, while the grandfather maybe is a classist at heart. So those things just sort of help. Then he will put in his inputs and I will put in my inputs, and that's how a space comes together for us.
And this is right from the inception, when we meet the client first, we know who will be better suited for that particular client, and that's how we take it forward. One of us takes the lead and the other person is more in the observational capacity or for the peer reviewer and everything. So that's how we work together.
That's lovely. And also, I feel like as designers, we are always tagged, right? You're a maximalist, you're a minimalist, but there's a lot more. There are a lot more layers to what those tags mean.
Yeah.
Like when someone says that you're a maximalist and you give the answer saying that we are a country of color, right? We have textures, we have patterns, we have materials. That necessarily does not need to be called maximalism. It
Yeah.
is just using local original materials, or
Exactly.
kind of even when it comes to minimalism, right? It's all present here. So those tags I feel are very westernized, and they come back to us, and then we're tagged under those banners. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because your replies kind of give clarity to the fact that it's not really those two tags, but it is about how you're using the material that you have around you to create your spaces.
Exactly.
Which is wonderful. So let's go back 16 years before you became the practice that you are, before you started the practice that you are today. Let's talk about your education, how you studied, what experience you all had in college, and how things are today and what the differences are.
So, Karan, I always wanted to be an architect since I was in standard 7th. I think I mentioned to you that I'm a romantic at heart. So, I read this novel called The Thurston House by Daniel Steele. And it was about this beautiful house that an architect builds, and for a family that sort of evolves over the years. And like there's a wedding in the family, there's a baby in the family, there's a divorce, there's another marriage, there are celebrations. And the way that house evolves over the years, and I was very young, like I don't know how old are you when you're in 7th? 14, yeah.
14.
So I wasn't,
Yeah,
so I wasn't even in that I am in love phase. I was just really young, but it just took me, it took so much to me that I was like, here is a profession, here is somebody who is involved at every stage of somebody's life.
Yeah.
Right from a marriage to a birth to change to death to whatever it was. At every point in that book, they talk about how the house changes and how the architect is involved in redesigning the house or redesigning the spaces, and they keep on talking about the architect, and he's an integral part of their lives. For me, that became the turning point in my life, that I wanted to be associated with people, to be with families who remember me on an everyday basis. I want to design, to be able to design for people who sit and eat in a certain space and say, oh, our architect suggested this, or who entertain, or who celebrate their lives, and I am a part of it. So for me, that is where it started. I mean, I studied in Delhi, and Delhi was a very different place about 20 years back.
Yeah.
I think I graduated in 2004, but I came to Bombay to do my internship with Mr. Hafiz Contractor, and obviously Bombay is amazing. It just gives you so much freedom, and as a girl, I got a lot of freedom in Bombay, which was not there in Delhi at that time. It wasn't that safe. So that's why I shifted my base here, and I worked with Mr. Contractor for about 5 years before I started my own practice, which was in 2009 now. Yeah. College was okay. I'm not too excited about college, but I think I learned a lot under Hafiz, and I was working with one of his associates. I think I did learn a lot on ground. It just gave me, it opened my mind completely. It gave me like in the firm, we had so much to do, so many good projects that I was exposed to.
Yeah.
That at one point, obviously, you sort of take a decision that now you want to start on your own, and that's what I did eventually.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, inspiring story. So I have my story goes way back growing up days. My father was an architect in Lucknow, not really an architect, but a structural engineer practicing architecture in the city, how you have in small towns. Like one person builds a home, does the structure, finishes everything. There was no real concept of interiors as such. But I remember growing up, seeing my father run all these sites, taking me on one of the slab castings happening on a Sunday. So I knew, okay, how the slabs are there, how site functions, who the workers are, what is RCC, what is steel, blah blah blah. And I remember Dad got this book on Charles Correa once to the house, and he used to always get magazines. I used to have a lot of Inside Out magazines that was very famous that point of time. We used to just browse through the pages, me and my brother, and pick, okay, this one is mine, this one is mine. So we just loved doing that. And then he got the book on Charles Correa, and I was smitten by it. I loved everything that the man ever did, and how he planned, how he used to approach his planning, how symmetrical his approach was while designing the open spaces, courtyards and everything. And somehow when I introspect today, I feel that my style of planning is very close to what I saw or read about Charles Correa. So I should say I'm hugely inspired by him. So that's where the entire seed was planted. And then I went and studied in BIT Mesra Birla Institute in Ranchi, enrolled in 2007. Those were like the best 5 years of my life, I would say. I thoroughly enjoyed the college. The campus was beautiful. Because I was already into softwares, because helping up my dad earlier on, so I knew it, and from the second year of my college, I started working professionally. Wow. I used to design a lot of elevations for these local Ranchi architects for their buildings, residential, commercial. So I just got a feel of how even money works, how to get paid, how to not get paid, how to ask for payments, and what money really means. And then I basically funded my education and everything from that point on. So it was also less burden on the family. So that also really worked for me. And that is the time where I got a hang of working in general, working long hours to meet the deadlines, because once you start working professionally, there is no concept of delays as much as it is in the academics. Yeah. That your professor might give you another day, the client will not. So you learn how to really push through deadlines and deliver work. So that's how it started. And 2010, I did an internship in Delhi. So my idea was that I'll intern in the two cities, Delhi and Bombay, and decide which one. This was a summer internship. I interned in Delhi with the architect Romi Khosla. It was very nice. I did one of the Shantanu Nikhil showrooms, wow, all by my own in the 45 days I was there. So I could deliver that. I was in third year that point of time. And then the next year in Bombay, I decided to come and work for this really upcoming, brilliant and beautiful architect in the city who had just opened her practice by the name of PS Design. So
that's how we met.
That's how we met. Yes.
He was my intern.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was an intern. So at that point of time, she was doing mostly interior projects. A few architecture projects she was doing and pitching for. So those 45 days in Bombay that I spent, all I did was work. I took the keys from my office boy, who's still with us, by the way. Yeah. He has seen the journey. He is the only guy who knows.
Yeah.
And now we know.
Yeah,
a little bit.
So no, pretty much a lot of people who know us know. So I took the keys from him. I used to come up at maybe 7 in the morning because there was no other agenda. Yeah. I used to stay in a PG in back in Borivali, Gorai 2, where the owner of the PG used to shut the ACs by 6 a.m. So we had to mandatorily get up, and there was nothing else to do. I used to reach the studio and sit there, work before Priyanka would arrive, and then have things to present to her.
So I didn't have anything else to do as well, because I had just started the company. It had been 3 years, and I was putting in a lot of work just to grow the company and see how it will come through. So what we really connected was the love of design. And honestly, we had like when he had joined also, like I said, he was an intern, and I was just amazed by the hard work that he would put in. And I saw a lot of myself in him, because when I was interning at Hafiz, I would also work many hours. Like I would reach office early in the morning. I would never leave before 1 or 2 o'clock, because that's how Hafiz's culture was at that point in time. I didn't need any motivation other than work itself. And that's how we started talking to each other. We just started chatting with each other, and he left, of course, in 45 days. And he
so I had to head back to college to finish my thesis. I did this Navi Mumbai International Airport was my thesis. Went very well in everything. Then I got an opportunity when I was in college to work with Dominic
No,
Perrault.
that's a lie. That's a blatant lie. Okay, what he already had an offer in his hand, which was from a small studio in Mumbai. That why don't you come and join?
Yeah.
And obviously somebody said, oh, why don't you go to Paris? Why don't you live in France? And he's like, what is this Mumbai chota sa studio?
So I got this opportunity to. So from Mumbai, wherein the city is extremely lively, people are very helpful, to this city in France called Paris, wherein everyone is to himself. So that's where I went. I went and worked with Dominic Perrault. I didn't really get too much opportunity to design because the studio and their structure was extremely huge. But what I did was I got into a lot of detailing and the kind of work they had, kind of work culture they used to practice over there. And so even from there, when I, of course, they had these the system of office timings wherein you're supposed to get in at 10 and you can leave by 5, no matter what. So I used to, and they were not really allowed to give more than X amount of work to, especially to the new joinees, to the interns. So I used to be done by 12 p.m. Then they gave me a freedom. You can do your own work or whatever you want to do. We are not allowed to give you more work.
Wow.
Like fine. So then I started again working with Priyanka from sitting from
इसे
there.
चल तेरे को थोड़ा सा मैं सांत्वना दे
भाव
देता
I'll give
हूँ
you,
या
So that was just a short stint over there, and then eventually I had to come back. I came back in 2012, mid 2012, March 2012, and joined
Again,
her.
see, he just wants to cut out all the fun part.
Yeah.
He wanted to work there. He wanted to settle in Paris. I made the effort of going there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and telling him, why are you here? Why are you living in this small PG, working on a like a mayor's salary? Why don't you come to Bombay and work with me? I'll make you an associate. And full dreams I had shown him.
When we talk about love for design, right? Like, I remember when I graduated and I had started my studio, I would watch a lot of art films. I watched Wong Kar-wai. I would watch these Japanese art films, movies. I would read a lot of books. I would get inspired. I would read books by architects and I would want to sketch, draw, develop. But eventually over time, right, you get into a rut where you're just like speaking to contractors or you're just dealing with clients and you're kind of repeating and reusing and redoing. With your studio, that is not the case. You all have been practicing for over a decade now, but every time we see a project that you do, it is new, it is unique, it is innovative, and the love of design that you just spoke about, right? How you all met and your entire journey is still very, very existent and very, very evident in your work. So how do you manage this continuous cycle of creativity rather than reproduction?
So I think the first thing that I spoke was I'm always inspired by my clients. I think I design for them. Okay. I think I don't have a signature style. Neither does Piyush. We as a practice, I don't think we follow that. Okay, I'm going to be only monochrome.
Or let's say we don't really propagate a particular style that or something that we want to do or we feel like doing on that particular month on the client. Yeah. It will always evolve organically.
I also feel that the design needs to be timeless. It needs to be looked at 10 years from today and still be appreciated.
Correct.
So we don't believe in trends. We always believe that if I want to live in a certain space, I should be able to live in it 10 years from now or 20 years from now. And how will that come? It will come only if I follow what the client likes. Yeah. It's not going to come if the client follows what I like. Exactly. Yes. So if there are people who come to us and say, okay, we love this style, what you've done, can you just repeat it? We do that. But for me, it becomes very awkward. No, I just need to know you first. Can I please have a dinner with you? And I always tell like, तुमने मुझे घर पे खाने पे नहीं बुलाया. I think it's very important. The moment you start doing that, the creativity starts flowing because you know what the client's liking, what their colors are, what things are. And other than that, I think travel, we both love traveling.
Yeah, love traveling.
We travel so extensively and there is so much inspiration all around. You see whether it's art, whether it's design, whether it's fashion. I think Piyush did a beautiful screen which he had taken from which was that artist that you had taken it from?
Picasso.
Picasso, yeah. So he had made a screen out of a Picasso painting. So I think there's so much inspiration around for that. I don't think that there's any reason for creativity to stop flowing.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I think what's important is you keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
I always tell my team that just keep your eyes open. That is the most important thing. You have to train the eye to see what's happening, and then that comes into your design automatically.
And it keeps growing
It
organically.
keeps on growing, yeah.
basically. Okay, guys, now we're going to play the emoji game. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 images, and you have to put they're like clues. So you have to take all 3 of them together and make a word out of it. And if you get it wrong or if you don't guess it, you have to have a shot. At the end of the game, the one who has the lesser number of shots, basically the winner, gets a hamper from our brands. So this is the first.
My heart wears a
Is it
jacket.
a
of-
It's
single
one
word.
word. It's one word. So I'll give you clues, okay, for this one. So this is the first one. What is on the heart?
Veins.
Vein.
Yeah. And the second word is a word that's another word for jacket.
Trench. Coat.
Yes. And the third is a sound that the one makes.
Ting.
Yeah.
Vein coating.
Yes.
Okay.
Means coding.
अरे ये क्या? Okay.
Okay, I want this. I want this. You
नहीं नहीं नहीं. अरे अभी इससे. Oh God.
Bald head. No.
It's related to something that a building has that we design.
That is the band.
What's the second word of band?
Aid. Bald है ना?
शक्ल. शक्ल को इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं?
No. Face. Aid.
Facade.
First,
Yes.
I know.
Oh, so none of you all have.
Facade.
Whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna now give you a clue for this. Okay, just one clue. It's a art movement in Europe.
Bauhaus.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Oh God.
Short. Clue. I'll give you a clue. It's fabric related.
Upholstery. Upholstery.
Yes.
Hey, I didn't even get the chance to look at it, yaar. Clue बाद में देना.
देखो पहले.
Antonio Gaudi.
Wow, man! Wow, that is insane.
अरे ant है ना तो और क्या होगा?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Lime plaster.
No. What do you do to clothes once you've worn them?
You throw
With
them.
soap.
Throw
Lime
them.
wash.
Yes.
Lime wash.
Chalo.
Whatever,
Okay.
we are at
So
equals
now we are 3-3.
Spectrum.
Wow.
Yeah!
Wow.
I know that. You're so cheap.
Last one, okay, guys.
Cornice.
Cornice.
Hey, shut up! I
अरे यार.
said, no, I said cornice. I said it before.
There are rules.
I win this. You
Listen,
please just
yeah,
have a
अरे
shot.
यार.
I
This is
said
That's
cornice.
amazing. This was an amazing
Total
game.
BS.
Yeah!
Well done, guys. Well done, guys. So
Cheating कभी
officially,
कुछ कम करते
our
हो?
winner is Priyanka.
Yes, thank you.
Uh,
Thank you,
we-
thank you.
See, okay, guys. So you all have won this game, and our brand partners would love, Kitchen Studio would love to present you with a hamper.
Okay. Thank you.
Well done.
Sorry, I'm horrible. Thank you.
That was an amazing game. And
I'm so happy.
deserved winner. Look at how he's looking at me. He's like, "Acha." Coming back to our conversation, I would like to talk. Since you all have done such a vast and dynamic spectrum of projects, right, over the years, I don't want to focus on one myself. I would like for you all to tell us about some projects that are close to your heart, something that you've completed, maybe something that you're working on, and how the process of that entire project execution, designing, all of that has been.
So, to be honest, every project is close to the heart because the kind of work we do, we don't take up stuff that we don't really believe in, or we don't take up clients that we don't really get in sync with before. Having said that, there is this during lockdown there is this lobby that we did for a very dear client. It is a tech park. was an existing tech park of some already 20 years old building, and they were planning to expand, like make new buildings and get more investors and everything. So they wanted to revamp the entire lobby. Now the current lobby, how it was done long back, and it was extremely grey, a lot of steel. The flooring was also very
and
very
it's a
grey.
rather large lobby. It's about
Yeah.
20,000 square
20
foot.
odd thousand square
Yeah.
foot, single big space, like
Yeah.
a big cube.
See, again,
So
when you
it's-
talk about scale, like for me, I was like, lobby, kitna hi bada
Yeah,
ho
I know.
sakta hai?
That's
You're
why I
like
mentioned because
20,000.
20,000 it's one single space.
Wow,
So
this is
it's
a building lobby.
No,
it's
this is it's a lobby for a tech park.
tech park.
Oh, for a tech park,
Yeah,
okay.
Tech
yeah.
park. So
Yeah.
that's the main lobby. You enter, and then there are different wings
Ah, okay,
to
understood.
different part
Okay.
of the buildings. The requirement of the client was to do something very international, very different, and very monolithic is something they always kept on saying. Now the things in hand were that the client was extremely into art. So they had these really big sculptures. They had a Subodh with them. They had a Jitish
I
Kallat.
think we need to define a big sculpture. The Ditish Kalat sculpture is 15 feet?
15 feet tall,
15 feet.
brass,
It's
sorry,
brass.
bronze sculpture.
Yeah.
And they
The
had
Subodh Gupta was maybe 18 feet by 18 feet. So we are talking of
Yeah, like
a
massive
massive sculpture.
yeah,
so
yeah.
really big doesn't just
Yeah.
sort of define.
they had
yeah.
this the bullet sculpture, the light year is what they had, and we wanted to place it within the lobby. They had a Radha Krishnan. They had several paintings and everything. So what we decided was, one part of the lobby on the right hand side when you enter, we ended up making a small art gallery, sort of a maze on which people are made to climb up and then reach the level above. Because another requirement was specifically, I remember him saying, telling me that we have this escalator and we have these stairs, and because of the escalator, no one uses the stairs.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to just take the shortcut. So then we presented this idea, okay, why not have an art gallery which also sort of acts like a staircase to reach the floor above, and then have another gallery over there so you can display your work and also make people sort of climb
Almost
up.
Guggenheim-esque, basically. You kind
Yeah,
of,
or, yeah, something
yes,
like that.
something
Although
like
not
beautiful.
not close, but yeah, that was the concept.
That's a beautiful.
Yeah.
That was the idea. I mean, you can make it sort of
More interactive.
more interactive,
Yeah.
useful for the users. So what we did was we based. So once you look at the lobby, there is no furniture. It is more of an architectural style of interior,
Yeah.
wherein the furniture doesn't do anything to it. So even if you remove whatever little furniture we have there, the space speaks for itself. So what we did was the entire big ceiling, this nice big 20,000 square foot ceiling, we mapped the thumb impressions. So I did a small study about impressions, thumb impressions. You have 8 different styles, 4 positive traits and 4 negative traits, if you believe in that thing or that study. So we took the positive traits, combined, made a pattern out of it, and mapped it on the ceiling using these curved, like a flexible
Flexi
birch
ply.
ply.
Wow.
So the idea is that you enter into aura of positivity.
Or
That's
You know,
positivity
there's a
while going
canopy
through.
of positivity when you're entering the
Yeah.
office
Also,
space.
another idea was the space was so grey, we wanted to bring in some warmth to it. So the entire birch plywood ceiling adds that little shade of light brown, and we had sort of continued them on these 4 large pillars, which then sort of gravitates, that channelize that energy to the user who's
Is this a video that you all have? Is
Yeah,
it the
yeah,
same
also,
project,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because
one
now
of the-
that you're describing
Yes,
it, I'm like,
yes,
oh, this
yes,
is what you're
it's the
talking
same,
about.
and it's
Oh,
one of
that's-
our- yeah.
That's a beautiful video.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
lovely. That film
The
is
art
beautiful.
gallery that we made, we've cladded it entirely with cotton, real cotton steel. So the gallery also breathes, because the material breathes by itself. So every time you look at it, there's some different pattern onto it.
So the patina changes basically on the cotton, and every couple of months you would like, okay, something's different about it, and that was the whole idea. And especially given Bombay weather, so much moisture, so
It changes,
it
yeah.
changes, and it changes in a positive way. Like you want that change, so
That's
it just
Yeah. So once done, the space became very interactive. The lobby was not boring anymore.
yeah.
People used to come from far, look at just the lobby and just be
They
impressed
do
by it.
also have a lot of their events happening
Events,
there.
yes,
They host parties.
Yeah,
they host.
obviously, now
Obviously,
that you've designed it
yeah.
in this way. Yeah.
So the idea was that instead of just being a pass through, it becomes an interactive space where people stop, stare, interact with each other, and that. And I think we did quite a.
And that's lovely, because I think that when we study also, right, we are always taught that you have transition spaces,
Yeah.
you have semi-private spaces, private spaces, public spaces, right? That zoning that we have.
Right.
So to break that zoning and make every space interactive where you get a person to stop, observe, breathe is a beautiful approach to life, because it's almost like you're telling the clients or anyone who's walking in to be in the moment wherever you
Yeah.
are. You're not just passing through, but you're kind of enjoying every single moment, and that's a very, very beautiful concept. And I'm going to share this video, or if you have a walkthrough, we'll kind of we'll love to show that. Also, moving ahead, you start practice immediately, very, very early, right? At 8:30
We
a.m.
didn't speak about the other project.
Oh yeah, let's do another
She
project.
didn't speak
Sorry,
about her
sorry. I
project.
thought okay. Sorry,
सब उसको starlight बना दो है ना?
sorry.
You won the hamper.
So, sorry. No, why I want to speak about it, because it's something that we are doing now and we are really excited about it. And honestly, it was inspired by the Falling Water House.
Oh.
And I happened to visit it
FLW.
very recently. And you know, it's been a lifelong dream for both of us to design something which is in the hills, which sort of integrates into the entire fabric of the landscape. And now we've got this opportunity that we're doing a rather large house. When I say rather large, it's about 25,000 square foot house in Alibag. And it's on a steep hill. It's one of
25,000 square feet.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And the way we've designed the entire structure, we've tried not to cut the hill at all. And we have sort of made the whole structure, which in a way that it comes out from the hill lock itself. And you know, there are multiple levels. It follows the contour. It goes up and down. There are multiple staircases. So you know, from one living to the other living, there's just a step down, and automatically the double height comes through. The decks are sort of self-forming. There's a pool which we have done, which is also like just sort of integrates into the house. And I think that's one of the projects that, and we're keeping the whole thing very earthy. We're keeping the colors very neutral, which sort of blends in with the whole the mountain. And I think that is something that we're like, at least I'm very excited about.
And that's again very rare to see, because normally you just like slice the land. And
Yeah, I know. And you know, you won't believe when the client approached us, and I think somebody had sort of told him that why don't you cut the hill and then just make a straight, and it's so much easier construction. And we insisted. We said no, we don't want to cut the hill. We want to let the hill be. So there is. So we are doing a bar where the backdrop is the hill itself, and we don't want to do a wall.
Do we have images of this? Can we see? Not yet.
No.
We have
the 3D views. We don't have. And
renderings.
yeah.
This would be lovely to see, because you know the thing is that when you said inspired by Falling Waters and FLW, normally people just put a rock in their house.
Yeah, no.
It's nowhere
Yeah,
close
so
to
this
what.
is
No,
amazing.
it's still not.
Let's not say that.
Yeah,
No, it's
I said
inspired.
inspired. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, that's not the point.
No,
the
no,
point
anyway,
was that it just the site integrates. You
That's
know,
beautiful,
you work
yeah.
with the site, and that is what our thought was.
So it is very essential to first see where you are building and what you want to do with it. So the moment we saw the site and the terrain, it has like a crisscross V-shaped terrain from going up to going down. So the building shape somehow emerged at that particular moment itself, that let's do something like that which follows the terrain. It is easier on the client's pocket as well, because you save on excavation, save on time, and it's in general it is difficult to work
and
there.
it's not an easy structure because it is complicated. So there's no column above the other column. One part of the house goes like this, the one comes like that, and then there's another one which does that. You know, we've tried, because we're trying to follow the terrain, that happens, but it is a complicated house, and you know, it took the client also some time to understand how it is going to come through. But I think maybe after a year we'll be probably in a position to.
That's incredible. I think I'm smiling too much, because it's taking me back to like college and
Yeah,
dissertation.
I know. It's one of those.
So
and
beautiful.
You know,
But isn't that what you want to do?
Yeah, it's
as
so
an
inspiring. Like I want to be a fly on the wall in your studio just to see this journey, because you know we have these conversations when you're studying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I want to have this overhang. I don't want the columns to intersect. I want to integrate it with the landscape, terrain, and all of that. And then it just goes.
Yeah,
you know, it's just a rectangle with a sloping roof, and you have your whatever, and you know. So this is so
No,
beautiful
I think
to hear.
it also, you know, I also believe, and I think Piyush says it a lot, that you know, it comes with practice. That is
Yeah.
why it is called a practice,
Yeah,
right? It comes
exactly.
over the years. I mean, I've been working now for 20 years. After 20 years, I've managed to work on a project which probably takes me back to school days, you know. Yeah, because he's much younger, he got it, easy. But
No, I would also add here that none of this is possible without the clients who would sort of agree with what you want to do.
to your madness.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah,
because I
because
think
it is madness. I mean,
it's trust.
yeah,
right?
just making that the structural design of it was
Yeah,
a challenge.
because when we sent it to the structure designer, he was like, sorry.
He was like the professor you had,
Yeah.
who looked the civil engineer who used to teach you.
Oh God. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is complicated, and now we are making a model of it, and the and then we are working like, what do we do now?
Well, we're
What do we
making
do
a
now?
model out of necessity because even we need to see
Understand
how
it.
it is
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Because there are so many spectrums to it. The structure is so complicated. There's some double height is forming somewhere without reason, somewhere it is forming with reason, and how you combine the spaces, also keep it functional, also keep it in a within a proper budget.
Yeah.
You know, when you said earlier that you go on a 7-day vacation and you all are raring to go, I'm being like very, very genuine here. After listening to this conversation, I feel like designing. Like honestly, like when I spoke about burnout, they were from very personal references as well, because again, I told you that I want to have this conversation because I get a lot of insights from people and designers who have done far more work than me for far longer time period, right? So when you're talking about this, it's automatically inspiring me to go back on the drawing board and create something that
That always happens, yeah.
Very well, sir. I mean, Karan, this happens to us as well. If we are interacting with any architect, maybe our contemporary or somebody senior or maybe somebody junior, if we really start discussing about work, like we love doing it.
Yeah.
And we all the more want to do it the very next day or the same evening, you know, because you get inspired. And I think it's also very essential to have that kind of a circle around you who inspires you to like do better things.
I also feel that, when you were talking about, we initially were talking about inspiration. Six or seven of us, we did a trip to Copenhagen 2 years back.
God, it was.
I think it was, we realized that, when both of us travel, while we are in sync with each other.
Did you all go for the 7 days of design?
No. This
was last year after Milan.
No, not after Milan, after Maison.
After Maison.
So that 2
This
years
time,
back.
yeah.
So
This time,
it was 6 of us, and we decided, let's go to Copenhagen, and we started looking at projects, what we want to see. We wanted to see what, so we decided to go there, and Big has a lot of projects there, right? Yeah. And we went to the, what is that? Copenhagen. And oh my God, imagine now 6 architects and we are analyzing the whole building, and to feel that concept, to walk through it, and not just that, I'm getting goosebumps still thinking about it.
I was there last year as well.
Yeah, and there are so many other
also
buildings.
in general, peer reviewing another very big studio's work amongst architects, it is very, very good. It's a very good practice in
there
general.
are things that you will notice, and there are things that somebody else will notice, and then you say, look at that detail and look at this detail, and why can't, and then you start to say, okay, I can use this. I can be inspired by it, and that's really amazing. And I think as a community, it's very important this interaction happens for all of us to do good work, and not just mundane work where we're just looking at an Instagram picture and simply copying it. So, oh, this one's done good work, I want to copy this design. That's not how it has to be. How that design has to be evolved, where does that inspiration come from? It's very, very important, right? So I think that's the crux of, or should be of all our practices, is what I feel.
And that's beautiful, and you hit the nail on the head when you said peer review.
Yeah.
Right, it is something that is still not very prevalent in our culture here. Right, it's very like closed doors, and I won't tell you what I'm doing, you won't tell me what I'm doing. But I mean, I was in Copenhagen last year as well, and I had the privilege of visiting Big, like in their studio, and it was just like he came to me and they spoke to me about my work. Who am I? Like I'm like a baby designer who's kind of nowhere close to the kind of projects they're doing. Their parametrics, they're understanding the ideation, but he sat with me and he just had a little bit of a conversation with me, and it just changed my entire dynamic. I was doing a project, it was a office for a production house, and I came back and I told her, I'm like, Mamta, she's a very dear friend of mine, and I said, listen, I need to change, let's just do this. And she's like, okay. So again, when you speak about client trusting you and letting you do things. It's such a beautiful way to explain it. That's amazing, guys. Thank you so much for sharing this insight. Let's talk about your studio practice. You start really early. You start at 8:30 a.m. if I'm not mistaken.
We
Just the two
start.
of us. We
Y'all,
start,
y'all,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
y'all, both of y'all.
Yeah.
He's still bitter about the game. I'm going to keep saying that
No,
now.
no.
Every
He
time I-
said we. He didn't say I.
every
He
time
said we.
every time I make no because I said you instead of y'all.
Ah, okay.
Every
No,
time
no,
I
we
make
No,
as
no,
in-
he
as in-
he
as in
meant
the both of us.
every time I
us.
make an
Not
error,
the-
I'm gonna.
Yeah. No, what he meant
हाँ,
was
both
that
of you
the rest of the team comes in a little late.
Oh, okay, like
Yeah.
that. Acha, acha.
Yeah, he meant from that way. But having said that, yeah, that is
Yeah,
what it is. We do start early.
And is there a reason for that? Like, does that make a
Children?
difference? Children.
That's the practical reason. See, I'll tell you where it came from. Both of us sort of enjoy the time in the studio early in the morning, where we get like a nice, good 2 hours of
Silence.
peace, silence, just some time to design. Otherwise, most of the design happens in the evening, because from morning to afternoon you're only firefighting. The regular projects, this thing is not working. You're managing the company. I mean, I always say this to a lot of people who are starting up on their own, that designing a particular project is only one aspect of your practice. It is also managing the entire practice itself, managing the studio, managing the people, their salaries, the stuff that you have, the infrastructure, how you maintain it and everything. So all of those things sort of take over during the day. So the morning time is something we get both of us to our own selves, and we end up designing or sitting on something very important, or a thought process or a thought that we are developing. So that time has now become very important to us.
Yeah.
So we do it on a purpose. We like reaching as early as possible to the studio. So
Which,
that
sending the kids to school on time, which is like, we generally drop the kids to school at 8:15. That sort of helps in maintaining that time period, because, then we are in the office by 8:30,
And then you're up
8:45.
and about. So
Yeah. And nobody, like, the phone calls start mostly post 8 to 10:30, 11 o'clock. They never start before that. The team starts coming in at 10 o'clock. And, once they start coming in, then they obviously have a lot of questions. There's a lot of interaction, there's follow-ups on sites, what's happening, all that keeps on happening throughout the day.
Yeah.
But like he said that, as an architect, we do have to manage a lot of things, which is never taught to us during college.
Yeah.
It is, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
You don't know that, every day there'll be somebody coming and asking for money and thinking that you're an ATM.
Yeah.
And it's much easier
Yeah, it's
inside,
like,
and you should.
abhi chahiye. Like
Abhi
if-
chahiye, abhi chahiye, and then to take out money from clients, that is also a task. It is you have to, how your billing should be done. You have to file your taxes. You should know your compliances. You should know that you can't buy illegal software and not having Autodesk send you an email every second day. So there are so many things, there's so many aspects to managing it. Managing tempers, whether it's client tempers, or it's your team tempers, or your own temper for that matter. You just have to manage, or each other for even. Those things are never taught to us. I don't know now how the practice is, but we were never taught BOQs in college.
We had PP, but nobody, like, even if they taught a little bit of it, thoda sa, it was like they would tell us that you go to a studio. And then the studio is supposed to, in your internship, teach you that.
No, I know. The funny thing is that the first thing that a client asks you is BOQ. Before even probably you design, they ask you what is the cost of the project.
Anxiety aati thi shuru mein when someone would ask you for a BOQ, right?
Yeah, I know. And so I think those aspects are extremely crucial, and then the whole day goes in doing all those things, managing all those things. So starting early is very important for us. It's also important we sit late. So there are times that we come home and we've had our dinner, we spend time with the children, and then both of us will sit in the evening, late into the night. So he works a lot, of course. He spends a lot of time. I think his mind works best in the night.
Some of my best ideas and designs are 2 a.m. designs.
Yeah.
2 a.m. designs.
I don't work so late because I'm a morning person. I'm generally up by 5 o'clock in the morning. So I can't stay up too late. But he does, and he does a lot of work during late in the night.
It's
and
like
I
me and Pragati. I'm a morning person and she's a night person.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. That's lovely. Guys, you also spoke about firefighting. So I want you all to address our audiences and tell them that at your scale of projects that you do, what kind of firefighting do you all handle in a day when it comes to site handling, projects, contractors? Because a lot of people assume that as you grow and as you become a bigger studio, suddenly those burdens are lifted off of your shoulders and magically is handled by others, but it really isn't. So I would like you all to speak to our audiences about this and the kind of firefighting you do even till this date. And
I think you have to struggle with design with issues at every stage. The scale changes.
The scale changes.
It's the scale. So I'll tell you, when, let's say when I talk of the practice 15 years back when I started, my struggle was getting a client to buy a sofa, let's say for $1 lakh. So, sorry, acha lagega. Please take it, it'll sit in this space. Or if I was trying to convince him about colors or something. Today, it might be about, like the project we're doing, convincing him about the design that, how I don't want to excavate it. For him also, he's like, kya kar kya rahe ho? The client was also like, he's like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want one thing to go here and one thing to go there? Or for him to convince about that lobby that, I want to do it in birch ply and I want to do such a big scale. And the client was like, are you mental? You want to do this? You want to, just have a pattern, laser cut it, then project it on the ceiling and then have somebody screw every single piece. It's just the scale that changes. The struggle doesn't change, right? I may not struggle for $1 lakh of sofa, but I still, if in an interior if I'm in love with, supposedly a piece from, Holy Hunt or, Kelly Whistler, I will have to convince the client on it. Sometimes we still struggle with art. We still struggle to tell clients that art is so important, a part of your home. They don't. And trust me, even, the biggest of the projects we are doing a 80,000 square foot house in Delhi. The client is not convinced with the art. He's like, no, I think I want my walls to be art. I don't want to put artwork. Now, so there is struggle at every stage. It's not that we also to bring your vision to life. Okay, the more complicated your designs get, the more you have to work with the contractors to realize that design. Right? You have to get the right contractor on board so that he will be able to construct what you're doing.
Exactly.
Okay, now if he's not able to do it, getting another contractor to do it, your finishing becomes better and better. So how to achieve the right finishing, your materials, struggling with the right materials. And obviously when you get more complicated, like I think he had to do a lot of ideation for which ply to work with, which will look good.
We did ideations.
Yeah.
Just the
Sampling.
fixing process of it. There was no fixed way to do it. I spoke to a bunch of other architects also how we can achieve it. There were a lot of ideas, all very expensive. End of the day, it was a commercial project.
Right.
So we had to sort of work within a budget. So yeah, a lot of research went into it, and then it eventually came. Also, Karan, what you mentioned about like firefighting, and after reaching a certain stage, it becomes easier. You have to also always understand that end of the day, it's your name on the wall. So
Exactly.
anything and everything that happens within your studio, it's your responsibility. And I mean, we take care of it similarly how we did in 2011 maybe. It's the same now. It's just different scale. Okay, maybe we are experienced now to deal with the certain things that happen, or if a compliance issue is happening, if somebody is troubling us, we don't really get affected by it too much. We know, okay, this can be handled. So all those things come with experience. Then we have like good friends in the industry who we talk to how to do this or subvert around this particular thing. But eventually you have to take care of it on your own.
See, as a designer, you will try and do the best you can to the best of your ability. But we're still working with human hands, and there are chances that they will go wrong. So today, if a client comes to us, the struggle is sometimes you are seeing, like we're working on a project where the client is insisting on working with somebody he knows, okay, and we are like, no, this is not good for you. So now, yes, you set practices in place. Now you put it on paper because you want this. That is why you start setting up standards, or why you start setting up things that you send a clear mail to the client. We won't be responsible for it. That's which you don't do it. And I think it's very important that you start identifying those red flags. Where will they happen and how will they happen?
And then identify before you even kind of.
And believe me, you cannot do it when you're young because you learn by practice. You will not be able to do it because you may not have said, मेरे साथ तो कभी नहीं हुआ, but वो कब होगा आपको नहीं पता. So it is something that you learn over the years. It doesn't come to you immediately. I think there are so many mistakes we still make. I'm saying as early, like as recent as a year back,
Yeah.
for us it was a mistake. After that we've decided, okay, if the client wants to do this, we just send a simple mail to
That
him.
we are not
Sorry, we are not
responsible.
responsible. So, and they do understand. After you send it, then they do understand, okay, fine. You know, because you have to protect yourself.
And honestly, we don't do it to push somebody we want to work with. It's
Yeah.
just for the betterment of the project.
Yeah, and to
yeah.
protect your
And
own
to
integrity.
safeguard the practice, as in
Yeah.
you don't want a bad name at the end of the day. That is very
Because
important.
something that doesn't look good in your space, eventually I'm responsible for
And
it.
if someone visits and they're like, oh, this is not right, they will just ask who the designer is. They're not going to be
Exactly.
like contractor, alag tha,
Contractor
and
किसने
हाँ,
किया?
yeah.
Because approved तो मैंने ही किया ना.
Correct.
So then I am responsible for it. So that's what the firefighting is about.
That's beautiful, guys. Thank you for this wonderful insight. Before we wrap up, we're going to play one more game. We're going to play rapid fire. Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you all questions and you'll have to answer very quickly.
Okay.
Okay? And the winner gets a hamper.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to start with the winner of the last round.
Yeah.
So we'll start with you, Priyanka.
Okay.
What's your favorite design challenge? Small spaces or big open floors?
Small spaces.
Okay. If you had to choose a space inspired by a color, which color would you choose?
Green.
Nice. What's one design myth you wish people would stop believing?
Colors are bad.
What's the one tool you can't live without, physical or digital?
Please say you're my husband.
What?
One tool you can't live without.
Ah, my pencil.
Very nice.
Sorry, not the
Okay.
husband. What? My pencil. I need my pencil. Yeah.
If walls could talk, what would yours say about you?
Probably
Okay.
all the galis they've heard during construction.
Yeah. I abuse a lot.
What's the most memorable project you worked on?
My own house.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Politically right answer.
Yeah.
Piyush, it's your turn now. If you could redesign your workspace, what would be your top priority?
We've just redesigned our workspace and we did something that was our top priority to have separate cabins.
You see, I told you gave better questions to it. I'm sorry. This is gone. Like I'm
What's
working
the
on it.
most underrated feature in a house, in your opinion?
The staff quarters
The staff quarters. Oh, yes. Okay.
has to be designed nicely.
Yes.
There cannot be too much entertainment. There cannot be too little entertainment.
Yes.
So yeah.
Natural light or statement lighting?
I like both, but I would say statement lighting.
What's one thing you always avoid in your designs?
Using too many fabrics.
Using too many fabrics. Okay.
Then he brings the wife.
Because then I have to bring her.
What's your best kept secret in interior design?
Why should I reveal?
Because that was the whole point, so that we get to know and we can plagiarism. That's a nice answer though. Why should I reveal?
Yeah, let's stick to that.
Okay. What's your favorite unexpected use of wallpaper?
I don't use many wallpapers.
If you could redesign a famous fictional home, which one would you pick?
Tony Stark's house.
See?
Wow, nice. That was a lot of fun. Guys, who has won? I am not answering this. Who has won? Piyush, I
See,
think.
see,
you
it's
have won.
unfair.
No amount of
No,
money.
I'm sorry.
No amount of money.
I don't agree. This is protest. No, I'm sorry. I'm walking out.
I
now.
think
This
you
don't-
should give us a victory speech now.
If his hamper becomes better, na, dekh lena. Dekh lena.
The kitchen studio would like to present a hamper to you. That was an amazing game, an absolutely beautiful and insightful interview that you gave us. And I'm so glad that you were here with us, not to begin season 1 or 2 because of somebody, but to end season 2 on such a beautiful note. I mean, no words can describe how happy I am to have you all in front of me and have this conversation with you all. Thank you for all your insights and your in-depth analysis of your lives and sharing everything with us. Before we wrap up, I would like for you all to address our audiences and just give a one-liner on anything that you would like to share with them.
So first, I would like to thank you for making us do this. I've realized every time we sit together as a couple in front of a camera or talking to somebody, and if we start reliving the memories, it's always, to me, it's a very, very nice feeling. It's always nice to remember where you came from.
Yeah, also भूल जाता है कि wife कितनी अच्छी है.
Yes, also that. Do try to apply yourself more if you want to flourish in the industry. There's no other way. You don't really have to be very good technically, but you just need to be there in the moment, apply yourself to the particular thing, and the things sort of come to you. So that is my sort of a request to all the young architects listening to us, or to me, that you have a long way to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, Karan. This was really a lot of fun. I think we've done this after a really long time
I'm
sitting
so
together.
glad.
Otherwise, it's just him or me mostly. Really good session, and yes, thanks for all the money that you've sent him for winning the rounds and stuff like that. I would also want to address the younger generation. What I feel is that social media is not real. Okay, it doesn't put across the hard work that goes into your projects. Okay, it doesn't, if somebody is presenting a picture that, you know, you do this, you do this, you do this, they're presenting it from their perspective. You don't know what goes behind those. So I have a lot of young people coming to me that, oh, why are you taking up this project? You know, we have bills to pay, and maybe somebody doesn't have bills to pay, which is why they're taking up project and giving advice that don't do this, don't do this. But when you are running a practice, there are too many aspects that social media doesn't show. And I think it's very important that you realize that. I always say that it's called practice for a reason. You won't get overnight success. Even if you get because of social media, it's not going to be long term. So I think it's very important that you keep that in mind and be true to your work, keep an open eye, and that's extremely important. Train your eye and keep your mind open. That's the best thing you can do for yourself and your practice.
Thank you for watching season 2, episode 9, which is our final episode of the second season with Moñö Architecture. I'm extremely grateful to all of you all for being with us for an entire year, and hopefully this shall continue into season 3. A special gratitude towards my brand partners, Kitchen Studio, Highbeck and Turquoise, for being so loving, supporting and caring towards us and making this happen. Thank you guys. He is a person without whom your site cannot be completed.
It's a civil contractor.
No.
Mason?
Yes.
Oh God!
Kadiya.
But that's what I call the Kadiya, the civil contractors.
Listen, you're too fancy for us. Man.